Hello, YouTube. So today will be a general collective message. This video will be a little different than what I have uploaded in the past because I will be starting off with just dropping some knowledge that I feel is relevant to what I'm getting ready to talk about, the message that I have been given to give today. So I have been studying Kemetic spirituality for the past couple of months. It has given me a lot of great information that I feel that we can use in our everyday lives to get through things, to understand things, and to also keep us grounded, which will be the main theme of my message today, grounding. Okay? So first off, we're going to start with one of the Hermetic principles, which I feel are extremely important because I feel like they kind of teach us to look at things that happen in life through a different perspective, a more grounded and understanding perspective, a perspective that makes you understanding towards others as well as understanding towards yourself. Okay, and also can teach you how to process information that you're given as well as how to move throughout your day-to-day life to really help yourself. So we're going to start with the principle of rhythm. And I got this from the book, Kemetic Spirituality, but I only have the digital copy, so I did have to write this part down to read it. So excuse me if I have a slightly hard time reading my own handwriting. Okay. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So, I feel like the main message that the principle of rhythm really teaches us is to prepare ourselves for life to go one way and prepare ourselves for life to go the other way, right? So a great example, or two great analogies that they actually give in the book. One is called the pumpkin seed farmer. So there is a farmer who wants to plant his pumpkin seeds, but I believe the best time to plant those seeds would be in the summertime or the spring or summer, the warmer seasons. But he first gets this idea when it's cold outside, right? So instead of saying, well, I'll just go against the grain and go ahead and plant them now during the cold season and pray that I get good results, I'll go with the grain, I'll go with the flow and prepare myself for when it is time to plant these seeds, for when the warmer seasons come about. So he prepares himself by making sure that he has the right tools to plant these seeds, making sure that he has enough water to water these seeds, and making sure that he has the seeds, right? Making sure that he has the knowledge to plant these seeds. So when that time comes around for him to plant those seeds, everything can just flow and go perfectly because he knows what he's doing. He's prepared himself for this moment, right? Or the other analogy given was the surfer. So surfers, they go out in the ocean and they wait for the right wave to, sweep them up and bring them back to shore. And you have this surfer who is out in the middle of the ocean and he's waiting on this wave, but he's also waiting on the right wave, right? Not just a small wave that can move him a little. He's waiting on that wave that can take him all the way back to shore as he initially planned. So it also teaches you to have patience while you wait for that right time to put out the idea that you want to put out or do what it is that you want to do. Like, even an example for myself, preparing to give this collective message. I really did want to record this video last night, but I was just too tired. I was too tired. I didn't feel that I had the energy physically nor spiritually to provide this message as clear as I could if I was well rested and energized and replenished like I am now. So what I did was I made sure I cleansed myself. I made sure I cleansed my tools. I made sure that I grounded myself to prepare myself to come and give this message today. So I think that we as people, sometimes we can rush things that we want. We can rush results instead of realizing that instead of rushing to plant that seed, the best thing that you can do is get ready for the right time. So some of us, we may be rushing to put out a new idea, right? But we don't have all of our ducks in a row. We don't even have our complete strategy and plan to put this idea out. So when we put it out, it's kind of just a mess. We just rushed and we were being too frantic and we threw it out there when you could have slowed down and you could have actually created a plan or a strategy for yourself so that when the time to put this idea out, this business plan out came, you had everything ready. You had everything together, right? So even though you're in this period of waiting and feeling like there's resistance to you wanting to put these things out, understand that you can still take advantage during this period of waiting. It's actually the best time to take advantage because you're preparing yourself so that when the pendulum does swing the other way and that door opens up, you're ready to walk through it, right? Rather than being frantic and putting it out now, or even just not preparing yourself for the time that that door does open for you, okay? So I think that with everything that we have going on in the world right now, 1 minute there can be peace and that pendulum can swing and it can just be like chaos, which is kind of what it's been for the past few years. Kind of been a lot of chaos. Before, it felt like things were a lot more peaceful and then they weren't, right? And that actually kind of goes back and forth. We still have time periods within those few years where things felt peaceful and then the pendulum swung and things felt more chaotic. But in the times that things are peaceful, that is the time where you should be grounding yourself. That is the time where you should be getting your routine together, especially a spiritual hygienic routine, making sure that you have set days that you cleanse yourself, set days that you work on protection, make sure that you understand that in each moment you're preparing for the next, right? So when you go from this waiting period to this period of action, prepare yourself for when things are going to slow down and you go back into the waiting period so that you know what to do with that waiting period next time that it comes around, right? And grounding yourself is so important in these times of waiting and in these times of action because you truly never know how fast the pendulum may swing whatever way it decides to swing. So if you're not grounded, and you're in this period of action and you're moving and you're moving and you're moving, once that action slows down and you come back to this waiting period, being ungrounded means that you'll be frantic again in this waiting period, right? That you'll be rushing to do things that you actually need to wait to do. So I've been noticing that with a lot of spiritualists and practitioners, psychics, empaths, whatever word you want to use, a lot of us have been talking about how things have felt, or how things like now are feeling so heavy and how they're waking up having all these negative symptoms. Personally, I feel like that is because in this waiting period we had where we knew that these changes were coming about, we knew that a certain person is coming into office and it's going to cause chaos. Instead of preparing for it and grounding yourself, they really weren't doing that. And so now that we're in this period of action, he's been sworn in and things are starting to, the tension is starting to increase. They're feeling all these negative vibes and energies and waking up, feeling them in their dreams because they did not ground themselves properly or update their spiritual hygienic routine during this waiting period. So whatever situation you're in, it really doesn't matter. It can be spiritual. It can be a metaphysical issue. It can be a physical issue. Understand that the things that you do at all times will affect how things go when that pendulum swings the other way. So the action that you take during peace will affect how you feel during chaos, okay? Peace is not a time to let your guard down, right? It's not a time to feel like everything is good and you don't need to do anything or you don't need to prepare for anything else. It's actually a time to understand, okay, this is the perfect time for me to prepare for chaos. Like, for example, say you're in school and you are on your break, right? Say you have a winter break that's 2 weeks and you can take that winter break. Say that you're on that winter break, you have a 2-week winter break, but you know that when you come back, which, forgive me if this is wrong, I don't completely know how this goes, but say when you come back, you know that you have final exams. So you can take this 2 weeks to just relax and do nothing, or you can take this 2 weeks to study, but study at your own pace because you have the privilege of doing that in that time. But when school comes back up and you're going to class and you're moving, you're waking up early, going to class every day, you're having to pack studying for all these classes into one day, it's going to be a lot more chaotic and it's going to be harder to prepare for those finals than it would have been if you would have prepared while you were in an energy more of peace. Or say that you don't have finals when you come back. Say that you're starting your new set of classes when you come back. You can make sure that you have all the tools that you need for those classes. You can make sure you have all the textbooks purchased. You can make sure that you have your payments and all that for the semester in order. At this time of peace and this time when you have all of this free time to do so, rather than sitting around and waiting for the chaotic time to come back when you're back in classes and now you're like, oh shoot, I need to go run and get this and run and get that. You see the difference and how it feels when you prepare in times of peace versus when you prepare in times of chaos, okay? So it's really always better to prepare for things that are upcoming before they happen. And we all know that in this world, things will never always be peaceful, just like things will never always be chaotic. So again, in those times of peace, understand how important it is to ground yourself and how important it is to prepare for those times of chaos. So grounding yourself can look like meditating, a lot of meditating, teaching yourself, learning about whatever spiritual practice it is that you believe in, gaining more knowledge so that when the chaos comes, you can now apply that knowledge that you have to how you'll handle yourself or how you'll handle other people and situations in this time of chaos, right? So, again, if you have been feeling a lot of heavy feelings because of what is going on, understand that it is normal. However, it is also a result of being unprepared and not grounding yourself. Because just as there are some spiritualists who are feeling all these negative effects because of the chaos going on, there are other spiritualists who have kind of knew that this was coming and truly prepared ourselves and worked on grounding ourselves so that when this chaos came about, we're not just feeling it internally. I can feel it on a psychic level. I know what's going on. I can see it. I understand it. However, it is not consuming me because I prepared myself for this time. So understand that you also don't want to allow for times of chaos to consume you by being unprepared. And again, this can be with a situation that is physical. This could be with a situation that is metaphysical. So yeah. Another way of grounding, also keeping yourself cleansed. If you do readings, especially, but even if you just get readings, you always want to keep your energy as pure as possible and make sure that you're always prepared for whatever. Because I know some people may say, I went to a tarot reader and I felt negative energy after I got a reading from that person, which is possible. I mean, I don't know every spiritualist. Some spiritualists really actually do not have good or pure intentions. Some spiritualists don't even keep themselves cleansed or protected while going out and dealing with all of these different energies and connecting with different people's spirits, right? Which is something that is very, very, very important. But the more grounded you are, the more the higher the chances of you attracting yourself to a spiritualist who is also grounded is, right? So when you're frantic and you're frantically looking for a reader to give you a reading because you just feel like you need a message now, the higher the chances are of you finding a reader that is also frantic and just going out and handing out readings and not grounding themselves and preparing themselves to deal with all these different people's energies and spirits, right? So I may pull some cards, but all in all, I want this message to truly just come from my intuition and come from my heart and come from what it is that I felt I needed to share with people today and what I needed to say to the collective or whoever may come across this video. Because we are entering a period of chaos. And if you have not prepared yourself to enter this period of chaos, right now is the time to prepare yourself, okay? Make sure that you are spiritually protected, and however you can physically protect yourself, make sure you're protected that way as well. But you need to be taking your baths, making your oils, making spiritual oils. It's honestly not hard. I am always open to giving little pieces of advice to my collective. So if you guys want a video of how to make your own protection oil or even your own protection spray, please let me know. And I will definitely get right on that and provide you guys with the video. Again, it's very simple, but I'm always willing to give a visual explanation, detailed explanation to you guys. So just let me know. The same for a cleansing bath. If you need to know what herbs are good to put together, the way in which you should go about it, just let me know. I will definitely be willing to create a video on that as well. I may just make it one video and put it together for you guys. Whew. So yeah, trying to see what else I'm really feeling. I think that I may just go ahead and pull a couple of cards for my collective. What is it? Oh, that's bad. What is it that you guys may need to know right now? Okay, so I got the World card. So I really am feeling like, again, we are coming into a new period, okay? Almost like a new era, yes, but we're coming into, again, going from calmer waters to more chaos. And though things may have been chaotic for a little bit, spiritually, things are about to get a lot more chaotic. Okay, if you do rituals, practice any form of magic, you really, really need to focus on protecting yourself in literally always, in any ways possible. Oh, especially for fixed signs, or if you have fixed sign placements, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, or Aquariuses, you want to make sure that you're prepared for these things, okay? Be ready. Make sure all your ducks are in a row. For some of you, I'm hearing insurance, like renter's insurance. You may need to get that because something could happen soon that may be out of your control where you may wish that you had renter's insurance. Car insurance, it's kind of a given. Please get that if you don't have it. Which I understand. I mean, you know, everybody's been there. Almost everybody has been there. I get it. But if you are able to even get minimum coverage, just go ahead and get that. I know that they have it's an app. I don't remember what it's called, but you can kind of pay for like day-to-day coverage, which is like really cheap until you can get an actual contract signed for car insurance. But mainly renter's insurance is what I'm hearing. Protecting your home may be very, very important. Very important. There will be a lot of spiritual warfare happening. A lot of people will feel like they are at a spiritual battle. increase whatever it is that you already do. If you only pray, do more of that. Do a whole lot more of that. I mean, make prayer like a ritual for yourself. But even if you are someone who is religious and you may have an interest in spirituality, but you're kind of scared to go full-fledged, which is understandable because you should not. You should always take baby steps, especially until you get that knowledge that you need. I do not recommend diving headfirst into spirituality with no protection. That is not something you should do. Not at all. You need to understand what it is that you're diving into before you dive into it. You need to know how to protect yourself and cleanse yourself before you dive into that, okay? But again, if prayer is your only means of protection at this time, pray harder. Pray harder, pray more, and be extremely intentional. I'm hearing Psalms, but be extremely intentional about the Psalms that you are praying. Also, now is going to be a very important time to use your discernment, okay? Because there's a lot of spiritual warfare going on, and with that comes a lot of energy of deceit. There may be people around you who want you to trust them, and you maybe shouldn't. But again, use your discernment. Not everyone is someone to question, but not everyone is someone to trust, okay? So if you've been feeling iffy about someone, it doesn't mean take action. Of course, fit this to your own personal situation, but it does not mean to try and get someone before they get you. Just keep that person at arm's length and observe. Observe. Do not tell them your personal business. Right now is really not the time to put your personal business out there, especially for no reason. I know a lot of us, we may call people to just vent to them and just tell them what we have going on. Now isn't the best time to do so. Vent to God. Vent to the spirits that protect you. If you worship any deities, vent to those deities, okay? Vent to the spirit realm, but make sure you're protected when doing so. One thing that I used to do when I would pray and I was new to spirituality, I would always start my prayer off by saying, I'm only praying to God and to the spirits that protect, love, and watch over me. You need to be very intentional when you're praying about who is hearing your prayers, because when you pray out into the open without being intentional about who it is that you want to hear your prayers and who it is only that you want to hear your prayers, you open that door for other spirits to hear you as well, right? So you definitely want to connect more with your intuition. Frequencies may help, like meditating to frequencies may help. If you do spiritual work, doing spiritual work to frequencies may also help. As long as you protect yourself, you'll be fine. There is a lot going on right now. We are shifting a lot, especially in the country that I'm in America. There is a huge shift going on, also in other countries as well. But again, peace is a time to prepare for chaos. Just as chaos is a time to prepare for peace. But in chaos, you can use those tools that you prepared with, right? So if you're grounding yourself in times of peace, when chaos happens, you won't feel it so heavy and you won't feel it so hard. You'll know it's there. You know, you won't, I'm sorry, there's a notification. You won't be blind to it, but you'll be ready for it. You want to make sure that you're ready for it. Ooh, honestly, that was the main message that I've been really feeling needed to get put out there, even to other spiritualists. I mean, be careful who you're going to at this time. Be careful who you're going to. Be really careful. I seen someone, I've been on Instagram threads a lot, and I've seen a lot of spiritualists, like I said, saying how heavy things are and how they're having all these negative symptoms. Just like I've been seeing one particular spiritualist, I cannot remember their name, but they have been saying a lot about how these next upcoming months you will see a lot of spiritual psychosis. And unfortunately, that is true. And unfortunately, that spiritual psychosis will come from those spiritualists who did not prepare themselves. Remember, someone being a psychic, a witch, a healer, whatever they call themselves, does not mean that they are perfect. It does not mean that they are forever pure if they do not cleanse themselves. They can get dirty too. So you do want to be careful, okay, who you're going to. Please be careful. Again, cleansing yourself, keeping yourself grounded, ups the chances of you running into a spiritualist who does the same thing as well. Keeping yourself dirty and ungrounded and frantic also raises the chances of you running into a spiritualist who is the same as well. And it does not matter. It does not matter how well known that person is. It does not matter how many followers that they have. That is something that I'm hoping in the near future we can let go of, the idea that a spiritualist with 20,000 followers can give you better advice than one with 200 followers, because it's just not true. It's not true at all. That person with 20,000 followers could have started off grounded and gotten a little arrogant, and now they're just out of whack and don't even realize that they're out of whack, but they are. Another good example, kind of good example of this is something that I may just get into this topic as well. But I call this light workers who are afraid of the dark. So I feel like when you practice magic, you have to acknowledge both sides of it. You have to acknowledge the light and the dark sides of it, right? And when you don't protect yourself from one side, you just close yourself off to it. And if anything, in my opinion, you're left unprotected from it, right? So there are spiritualists who simply work with light, which is completely fine. I'm not saying that someone who works with dark is walking around throwing bad energy at people. No, but they acknowledge that there are times when maybe hexing someone may be necessary. Now, if you know me, you know I'm not the type to say, no, I would never. I wouldn't do it unjustly, but I'll never say never. Never. I'll never say never. But there was a woman who pointed out how she got a reading from a spiritualist who was super popular and had a lot of followers. And so they trusted them immediately. And that reader told them that the person they were in a relationship with was perfect for them and not to leave them. This is a great person. Only for, I believe they said, a month later, that guy was driving them around abandoned buildings and made a joke about how the woman would be lucky if no one ever found her dead in one of those abandoned buildings, which is a very dark joke. That's, it could have been dark humor, but it was a dark joke. And they also went on to say how things kind of in the relationship just took a left turn after that, right? So a lot of people will go on to say, well, I've realized that some readers, sometimes they get it wrong, which is true. That is true, because at the end of the day, we are only told what spirit wants us to know. But with something like that, Not being able to call out bad energy and not being able to recognize it is because you have shut your intuition off from it. You have refused to acknowledge it in your everyday practice. So when someone comes to you and the answer to their question is really negative, you automatically give them something positive because you closed yourself off to the possibility of darkness, right? Which to me is not all that good when you have a clientele, because you want to really be able to help your clientele. And if you're closing yourself off to a huge part of spirituality, which is darkness, you're closing yourself off from being able to fully help them. But you know what? Again, I think that is a topic that I will dive deeper into in another video. Even though I kind of put it out there just a little bit, I think it's something to think about. But I will dive deeper into exactly what it is that I mean in another video. But in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this video helped at least someone out there. I hope that my message resonated with you. If you would like to book a personal reading, please follow the link in my bio. I will also go ahead and put my email in there so that you can email me if you have any questions. Please do not be afraid to ask me anything. You can also comment and ask me questions as well. And again, if you guys want a video on how to prepare a cleansing bath or protection oils or a protection bath, just let me know and I will be more than happy to make one.